Hello out there, everyone. It's Lee Henson, president and founder of AgileDad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Stand-Up. So without any further ado, let's get started. Today, I wanted to discuss an article that was put out by a dear friend of mine, Mike Cohn from Mountain Goat Software. Mike and I go back many, many years. What I can tell you is, Mike, I'm looking forward to doing a podcast episode with you. I'm looking forward to doing some type of collaboration. We'll talk offline. But one of the articles that he recently put out, and this is a brand new article, it just hit the presses. It's called The 3 Types of Requirements on Any Project. Now, I had an opportunity to go through and read the article, and while to some of you this may sound like Captain Obvious, it may sound like it's something that's very simple or something that's right, where we need it. For some people, they may not be aware of these things, and I love the way that Mike drives home really hardcore things that you need to remember that are incredibly important, but uses very down-to-earth, simple examples to get you there. So with that, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. So when we're discussing requirements on any project, traditionally, how do we do this? We would get our business analysts and others to do customer and consumer interviews, to hold user focus groups, to interview people from support, to find out things customers are struggling with, interview trainers and find out things they're clamoring for, gather every single requirement in the world, dot all our I's, cross all our T's, create a long, heavyweight, 289-page technical user requirements document, a turd. And they would polish that turd and make it absolutely perfect and present it to the team and hope with all their might that that was an all-inclusive list of all the requirements that someone would ever need on that project. This would be easy, and this concept is called known requirements. These are things that you need. It's stuff that people come in and they say, hey, this is what we know we need. The problem is I'm going to add one more type of need here, which is going to be interesting. So I'm changing it 3 to 4, Mike. This is a perceived need or a perceived requirement, meaning that it's something that somebody thinks they want, but they don't really know why they think they want it. They just think they want it. So for example, for many, many years, I said, oh, what would really be cool? If I had a horse. Now, I don't know why in my lifetime I'd ever think having a horse was cool. It's a lot of work. It's pretty expensive. But, I knew it would bring my kids great joy. But for me, I was allergic. I mean, it didn't make any sense. It wasn't logical, but it was still something that I thought I needed. And I think that sometimes our customer finds himself in that very same position. So sometimes even the things on a known requirements list are things that they know they think they want, but they may not really want. I know that sounds crazy, but there you go. So I'm going to give you his simple example of known requirements. So analysts have honed in for years on good techniques to nail down these types of requirements. But the truth is, we're all innocently wrong. We're all fallible. We all make mistakes. Sometimes we don't ask the right question. Sometimes we don't think of anything to ask that in a certain category, or we forget to ask everything, or they forget to tell us everything. Maybe a user interview is cut short by an important meeting, or someone was absent from a storytelling workshop or story writing workshop. There's so many ways to get this done. But you want to make sure you have all the right audience included and that you gather the right information. But sometimes when we're talking about those things, those are what we call overlooked requirements, the things that didn't come up, the things that didn't make it, right? And Mike gives a really, really cool example from a grocery store. So I'm going to share his example. He says, if you're at a grocery store doing your shopping for the week, all the items on your list, each item on your list represents known requirements. You pulled out your recipes, you know exactly what you're going to need. You've got your milk, your eggs. These are all things you know you needed, so you added them to your list. Yes? As you're walking through the aisles near the back of the store, you notice the orange juice and realize, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I saw that. I forgot to put it on the list. We are on the last little bit in the carton. So you grab the orange juice off the shelf. That, my friends, when you grab that orange juice off the shelf, that is an example of a second type of requirement, and that's an overlooked requirement. It's something that you knew that you needed, but you forgot to put it on a list, so it was overlooked, but you added it anyway. I would argue that a lot of what the stakeholders are asking us for fall into this overlooked category, that there are a lot of things that they don't realize that they need, that they really do need, that either we can bring to their attention that they need, or they can bring to our attention that they need, as we're going through. But I think that invites the third type of requirement. So now you're in the grocery store, you've got all the items on your list checked off, plus that orange juice that you didn't know you needed, or you knew you needed, but you forgot to put on the list, right? And you get to the checkout line. On the way, you got that one item that catches your eye. Maybe it's a hot day outside and it's cold soda. Maybe it's a pack of gum at the checkout. There's a reason they put those things there, the magazine, whatever it is. So you pick that up and you throw it in your cart as well. Now, this isn't something for a recipe. This isn't something that you ever dreamt that you needed. This is just so far, out there, and it's not something that was planned, and it's not something you overlooked. So it doesn't fit in any of those categories. This is called an emergent requirement. So the example he uses is like a trip to Costco or Sam's or to a grocery store where he says, have you ever bought something you never even knew you needed? Right? It wasn't on your list, so it wasn't a no requirement. It wasn't something you merely overlooked, so it wasn't an overlook requirement. It was something that you didn't even know you wanted until you saw it. So if you ever had those people at Costco or Sam's that give you samples or Costcopals, because you can't call a sample at Costco a sample, it has to be a Costcopal, just saying. So if you've ever had those before, you understand what this is about. So they make you try something. You're like, man, that's delicious. And you throw 4 of them in your cart. It's just the way it works, right? So in his example, he says he looked at something that looked like a huge orange. It was called a sumo. The store employee offered him a sample. It was absolutely delicious. And he immediately put 4 sumos in a cart. Now, before he ever saw one or tasted one, he had no idea that he'd ever want one or wanted one. He didn't even know that this thing existed. But on that trip, when he tried that sumo, it hit the third requirement. It was an emergent requirement. At that point, he realized that this is something he had to share with his family and something that he couldn't live without. So through the act of building the product, or through the act of figuring things out, the team demonstrates what's been built so far, and they're able to say, what would make this really great is da 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 da. That if you hear that from your stakeholders, that's usually a sign that you're hitting an emergent requirement. So emergent requirements emerge from the user seeing the product under development and saying, hey, that extra piece would really, really be cool. So if you looked at this, the majority of your requirements fall into the known requirement category. They really do, because, they're things that we know we need in order to have a stable product or service, right? But then you have those emergent and overlooked items that fall into that unknown category, and they often take up to half of the space. So I think it's, I think it's just getting it right, because they're always going to be these emergent requirements. They're always going to be things that people think of as you go through. So since emergent requirements simply can't be eliminated, the best strategy is to seek them out early as possible. So that way, once you see them early, the product owners have time to work them into their backlog or to figure out what needs to shift or whatever the case may be in order for those emergent requirements to be handled correctly. So there's lots of meat here. The topic itself isn't so hard. It's just about the 3 different types of requirements. So quick review, make sure you got them. You got the known requirements. Those are the ones that you need all along. Those are the ones that make the grocery list and you live happily ever after. You got the overlooked requirements, the ones that should have made it to the list but were simply overlooked. And then you've got the emergent requirements, the things you figure out you need as you go. And what I can promise you is if you follow Mike's advice, even though it's so simple, it's going to help you improve the way that you approach your work, and it's going to help you limit work in progress and help you build the right thing. So I hope this information was useful to you. As always, we encourage you to visit agiledad.com where you can learn more about this topic and plenty others. Until next time, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Do take care.